My name's Andrew Belletty, and I'm talking still with Todd Williams.
A.K.A. Stan Stockton.
And we're just going to talk about an unreleased demo tape that we did...
85?
85, yeah.
86 maybe?
No, not that late, probably 85.
Yeah.
And, I've got hold of those through Todd's brother, Cal, who was the guitarist in the band.
Yeah. So the very first track is called Flaming Speargrass. We always were conscious of the fact that we were on Indigenous country, and we actually invited a female Yidaki player to record the song itself. Led beautifully into Shadows Set Her Free, Min Min, and we used to do that live, go from that track into Min Min, what else can I say about that? That's about all. Min Min was written by Michael Wyatt, who was working as a pilot at that time, flying light aircraft, and actually ended up flying or co-piloting a DC-3 between Darwin and the Tiwi Islands for Air North. And he had met a lot of people in his time then. He was only learning the guitar himself at that stage, and it was a very, very powerful live song. I played harmonica on it at that time, and you know, I remember the song being such a cracker live. It just got everyone up on their feet, and a really, really kind of strong song.
Shadow set her free.
Knock 'Em Downs was co-written with Michael and I. Michael had originally written it from the point of view of a female who was hooked on heroin and was blagging out, and we were encouraged by Andrew McMillan, the producer, to go, well, yeah, you should write it really something about the top end. So Michael took it away and started writing about the onset of a cyclone. I think the first line is mine, the weather is melting, another quite beautiful day, which in the top end people know about because every day starts off beautiful and then it becomes so bloody hot, especially in the wet season. So we talk about the cyclone approaching, the cyclone actually hitting the city and what's that like, and then what the aftermath is. We counted the people and counted the telegraph poles, and that worked really, really well in a live situation too, because my brother Cal just literally played up a storm as the cyclone came through, and it was just great to play live.
The wind is melting, another John and cigarettes. Hey everybody, we're going to get wet. Knock them downs in the monsoonal band. Oh, knock them down, say get out of here.
Coffee was written by Michael, and it's a 2-chord song. It goes from A minor to D minor to A, just all the way through. A bit of a silly song, really. It doesn't have any. The words don't have that much depth for me, but they did capture a lot of people's imagination because iced coffee was, and I think still is to a certain extent, that outsold Coca-Cola in the Northern Territory. I used to have one every lunchtime at high school, and it was a great song to play live. And we did a recording of this song at a very, very kind of bass recording, and we somehow got together with a filmmaker who shot our performance of it at the amphitheatre supporting Australian Crawl, I think.
Dragon, maybe.
Dragon, one of those bands. We supported them, and he shot it on film, and he had a 16mm camera. Steve Biggs was his name, and another fellow called Albert Kuman, who I'd gone to high school with, did a series of animations for the song, and it got put together by Mark Knudsen at Channel 8 at the time, and it was put together there. So we didn't have a recording contract. We only had this song. It was made into a film clip, but we sent the film clip off to the ABC, and the show Rock Arena, hosted by Susan Dowling, her of the Big Hoop Earrings. Used to be a show on Tuesday evenings at 10 o'clock that used to showcase some really kind of cool music from around the world. Somehow we ended up on Rock Arena as I said, we didn't have a contract. We were just this kind of very much an outlier from the Northern Territory. And the clip itself is a really good clip. It's beautifully edited. And the recording of the song was great. It did help us get us a bit of a profile, because film clips was so important to represent a band, and there were some really, really great shots of us jumping off the rocks at East Point, Marvin, the Blue Healer, and it was a lot of it was shot at our manager's house in Darwin, which was one of the few pre-war buildings that were still around. That house still exists today. He still owns it, and designed by C.G.B. Burnett in 1936 or something like that. And so it had a really great Darwin feel, and it still stonkers me how we even got on to Rock Arena when it was actually screened on that night. We had a bit of a party to see it live, and we were just so stoked to suddenly have to be on the same show as people like the Go-Betweens and Public Image Limited. May the road rise with you. So we just, it gave us a lot of encouragement to think that, yes, we could be amongst the best. was a song that was very, very topical at the time, and it's still topical now because it was about Aboriginal people being humbugged by mining companies to mine on their land. And at that time, mining companies were permitted to approach traditional owners to present them, okay, we want to mine in your land. And if the traditional owners said no, they weren't allowed to ask them again with, I think, I can't remember, it was 5 years or 10 years. But just the persistence of these multinational mining companies to come in and really harangue traditional owners to mine on their lands, which, if you talk to a lot of traditional owners, it's almost the direct opposite of what they want on their country, because it's to mine, to dig it up, to disrupt it, to pull the guts out of the country. We know that the most famous example of that is out at Yirrakala, where Nabalco came in and with the federal government's support, established a mine there against the wishes of the traditional owners. The traditional owners still got royalties, but they didn't like what was happening. To get bauxite from the site, it meant taking the top 1.5 meters of country. It wasn't underground pit. It was just taking the top 1.5 meters, and it's like peeling off the skin of a body, and how physically horrendous that is. It was exactly how they felt. That's why they signed they presented to Parliament the bark petition. It's still hanging in the old Parliament House to this day. Gallery Yunupingu, as a young man who was about 19 or 20 at the time, was him and his father and Roy Murika were all signees to this. And it was just like the injustice of countrymen being overridden by mining companies, and as we know, there's a whole slew of legacy mines which have just, once the mining companies have been, they just leave a total mess. The water's poisoned, the lands are disrupted. That was written in 1985, and things still the same. Still the same.
Your home to look for more. I promise you it will be the same as always. Well, have I ever lied to you before? But you don't bleed, although they cut you. You don't bleed any time at all. Let them see that you will breathe.
Territory was written when we were on tour we were living in Sydney for 6 months and trying to crack the industry, and we felt homesick, and definitely during that winter in Sydney it was cold, and as Territory top end boys having to wear shoes all day, it's like having to wear shoes because it was cold. It was just a revelation. We were kind of thongs or bare feet kind of people. The song, the main chorus goes, Northern Territory, north of the border, south of the sea. Keep all your winters far away from me. You'll find me living in the Northern Territory. And the choruses address aspects of Territory life. It talks about mining. It talks about tourism. It was written in the same year as the bicentenary, and we had witnessed firsthand. We took part in the march from Redfern down to Circular Quay.
The first Australia Day, Invasion Day,
big
survival.
Yeah,
I don't know what it was called in those days.
Yeah, it was massive protest against the celebration of what in effect was a celebration of the beginning of the massive disruption to Aboriginal life and culture and land, and to have all these white fellas just dancing on the graves, as Paul Kelly put it, was just awful. So, part of the verses is like, so don't you celebrate because examination is due, time to question everything that we do. Northern Territory, it's a very up-tempo, happy-sounding song that just always was a killer on stage. It was, my brother Cal wrote a beautiful riff for it. Cal and I principally wrote the song, and it was, to this day, something that I'm really proud of, actually, because it's we used to call it, here is the unofficial national anthem of the Northern Territory, and put your left hand over your right heart, and we'd go into the song and people would just jump up and dance, and it was one of our biggest songs, but it had a lot of serious messages in it as well. It was fun, but it was serious as well.
North of the border and
Strychnine came. Michael wrote this song. Well, I actually contributed it too, but it was ostensibly Michael's song after an incident where someone deliberately left a flagon of wine laced with strychnine on the Todd riverbed for it to be found by countrymen who were just camping on the Todd riverbed. Someone to have murderous intent to leave poisoned strychnine. I think 2 people died from that, and a lot of people got very, very sick and almost died. It was a very serious issue for us to put in a song, but it resonated, ended up being on a compilation called Building Bridges in 1988, alongside Minute Oil and NXS and everyone, and that was kind of very humbling for that to be in that company.
Somebody put strychnine in the bottle. Somebody bought strychnine that day. Somebody put strychnine in the bottle, and somebody died that day. Hey! Murder! 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 They were born in the river, they lived on the river, they watched the world and more. They danced to the rain, they danced to the sun, they danced forevermore. The people in the town, they always looked down, they couldn't see past their place. They walked outside and the look in their eyes was one of pure hate.
That evil in the hearts and the shuts from the past, their minds they must be gone. They lived with the fear of what was unclear, their race is torn apart. They look to the left where the ability's left of who will help and why. And it's no crime to spend your time as time goes by.
Somebody put strychnine in the bottle. Somebody bought strychnine that day. Somebody put strychnine in the bottle, and somebody died that day. Hey! Murder! Murder! Makes it all sadder, what has the world become? Call on who you can, call on modern man before it happens again. And somebody put strychnine in the bottle. Somebody bought strychnine that day. Somebody put strychnine in the bottle, 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 and somebody died that day. Somebody put strychnine in the bottle. Somebody bought strychnine that day. Somebody put strychnine in the bottle, and somebody died that day. Hey! Murder!
Murder! Humpty Doo. We ostensibly formed at my brother's block. He had a 20-acre block in Humpty Doo. It's part of what's known as the Solar Village, which was an experimental group of blocks where they shared resources such as backhoe and water tanks and materials to try and live with way before their time in a way that was not on the grid. They use their own water, their own power, generate their own power, and so on. But yeah, Cal had a block down at the solar village, and we used to go down there and jam around a campfire under in his shed. That's where we started really coalescing as a band and writing songs. And Humpty Doo was a fun song because if you want to put it in terms of hillbillies without hills, we played up on that idea of all these rural people, these blockies, being a bit mad, growing their own dope, being in touch with kangaroos. They were just more in. They were living a different kind of life, and it was a very 1-2 kind of beat. So immediately, very, very simple song musically, but with funny lyrics. And the song got faster and faster, and then it just broke down, and then it got faster and faster again. And in a live setting, that was a real popular song. And probably the one I remember the most, the performance of that wasn't actually by the Swamp Jockeys, it was by Midnight Oil. When the the last night of that tour that we did with Midnight Oil, Pete Garrett invited Michael on stage to sing it with them as they thanked us for being their support for that, and that was very fun.
Oh, Humpty Doo, oh, they love you when there's no fear there. Cover will do. I don't know how the farmers afford to pay the rent, but one thing is for certain, they all look Billy bent. Come on now. Oh, Humpty Doo, how we love you. We take good care of those things. You won't find bumps and tanks and no child molesters too. But if my friends go missing, we'll come chasing after you. Oh, Humpty Doo, how we love you. You won't be brown or gold. Oh, Humpty Doo, how we love you. When things are easy, you won't get. There are times when things are hairy and the truth just can't be fed. But when we get together, you know what will be said. Oh, Humpty Doo, how we love you. When things are easy, you won't get. Come on. Oh, Humpty Doo, how we love you. We take good care of those kangaroos. You'll come on down for tea one night and taste the local brew. But try not to go overboard, it just might rot your shoe. Oh, Humpty Doo. Oh, Humpty Doo. Oh, we love you.
Hello was written by Michael after two young station workers died after their car broke down in the middle of nowhere, again, it showed the schism between white knowledge and Aboriginal knowledge of the land. These boys were inexperienced in the country and suffered their deaths mainly due to the fact they didn't know how, in an emergency situation, to survive their situation. And it was really all about if they had knowledge from their traditional people, they may have survived their ordeal, but they died. And it was a really well-known story at the time. And it was ostensibly about the difference between blackfellas and whitefellas in that situation. Cast Iron Motive was a song that really came back from when I was 13 and at Nightcliff High before the cyclone, when a member of the Motlop family challenged me to a fight. And I was a skinny, weedy, very white boy. and the fight went nowhere because I went, ooh, what? And he just kind of looked at me and said, oh, I'm not going to get much satisfaction here. He just walked off. But it was really addressing how those kind of situations arise between kind of especially teenagers and older men too, and it tends to be men and boys who get into these scuffles and so on to either make a name for themselves or a power play, or maybe because you're a bit of a smart ass. And I don't recall being a smart ass in this situation. I just remember him coming at me and shaping up, and I just kind of, my eyes probably almost popped out of my head, and he thought, oh my God, okay, I'll leave this guy alone. But just addressing that, what I perceive as what can be very toxic masculinity, and the way that men and boys feel they have to express themselves physically and impose themselves upon others.